Hi, this is Rob Doyle, and I'm here to teach you about Google Tour Creator. Before we get started, I just want to show you what a kind of a finished Google Tour would look like, and I'm going to show you my example. This is just 5 vegan restaurants that I like in DFW. That's the theme of the tour. The whole concept here is that the tour creator, which in this case was me, I get to drop the user into different scenes, which are just Google Street Views. And so the user, when they're in there, they can obviously like move around just like a normal Google Street View. But the creator gets to tag items to teach the user about those items. So for me, I just added 2 tags to each one of these 5 scenes. This tag is just a link to the website for the restaurant, and then I have another tag over here about the square in Denton. But you can kind of like toggle back and forth between those 2 tags. And then once you've learned everything there is to learn in this scene, you can click this button and move on to the next scene to see a new place and to learn new things. The creator can create as many scenes as he or she wants to and use as many tags as he or she wants to. So it's a great tool for dropping students into different locations and teaching students within that location. So anyway, now that we've kind of seen one, let's figure out how to make one. All you have to do is Google Tour Creator, and this should be the first link that comes up. It's called Tour Creator Google VR, and I'm going to click on that. And then we'll click this purple button that says Get Started. The example tour that I just took you on is going to show up right here. This is the vegan restaurants, but we're not worried about that. We're going to create a new tour, so I'm going to click on this button for New Tour. And we have to title the new tour. So the theme for this one that we're about to do, I'm just going to create one about some parks in Grapevine, and so we're going to call it Grapevine Parks. And I'll say these are parks in Grapevine. Before you can publish this to the web, you are going to have a cover photo. I just kind of like pulled one that I'm going to like drag onto here just to use for the example. But you can upload any photo you'd like to. And you can also create categories for this. I'm just going to go ahead and move on and click Create. So to create your first scene, you're going to need to find the right place on Google Maps. And so over here, I'm going to search for places, and I'm going to start by just searching for Par Park in Grapevine. So I'm going to type Par Park, and I find the one here in Grapevine. And so I'm looking at this to figure out if this is exactly where I want it to be, and no, like I know that Par Park is like more down here, so I could just do it this way until I find the place. Actually, I think I'm going the wrong way, this way until I find the place. But instead, what I want to do is I'm just going to use this map over here, and I'm going to move this little person to somewhere in the park and drop the person there. And let me turn it around to see if this is where I want to be. Yeah, this looks much better. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, add scene. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the starting view. The starting view is the first image that the user is going to see when he or she is dropped into the screen or into the scene. So I'm going to click this, and then I can rotate this and say, I want them to look at this. So I'm going to click Save, and then I can start tagging items at Par Park. So I might come over here and add a point of interest and just say, this is restroom. And I can say this is a restroom. Or obviously be more elaborate than that. I can do voice narration. I could put a photo with this tag. And then overall, I'm definitely going to want to title this scene Par Park. And I can add a little description. This is a big park. And once I'm happy with the way this looks and the amount of tags that I've added, I can move on to the next scene. So I'm going to come down here and click Add Scene. And now I'm going to search for something else. I'm going to go Meadowmere. Meadowmere Park, Grapevine. And this is the first place where it drops me into. And as pretty as that is, like I might decide I want to go somewhere else. So I'm going to move this little person over to a new spot in Meadowmere. I want to be like, yeah, I want to start right here. So I'm going to click Add Scene. And again, I need to rotate this around to find the right starting view. So I'm going to click Set Starting View, rotate until I'm happy with it. I'd much rather look at the soccer fields, so I'm going to click Save, and then I can just start tagging. So I'm going to add a point of interest up here, and we're just going to call that point of interest Sky. And then I'm going to come over here and add a point of interest, and we'll call it Road. And again, for each one of these points of interest, we'll say trees. For each one of these, you could add pictures, you could do voice narration, you can definitely add more of a description here, which is really key because you want them to learn inside of the scene. And so you can embed a ton of historic information or very specific information to your class in these different tags. Once I have finished Meadowmere, I'm going to title it Meadowmere Park. Once I've finished this and I feel good to go, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click this Publish button. I'm going to make it public, but you don't have to. You can make it unlisted, or I guess those are the two options. I'm going to click Publish. And now I've got a link, and anybody who goes to this link can take my tour of these Grapevine Parks. I'm just going to click on it so we can see what the user would see. So obviously we just have two scenes. We have Parr Park and we have Meadowmere. This is Parr, and then we got Meadowmere. And remember, within the scene, we have these different tags so that the people who click on the tags can learn more about those subjects: sky, road, trees. And again, this was just a really simple one, but you can make it really elaborate with a lot of scenes and a lot of tags, and really take your students on very intricate historic or educational tours of anywhere that there are Google Street Views.